So you could almost say that this is a part 2 to this video of me talking about the chapter 138 leaks. However, at this point, after my research for this video, I don't know how true those leaks actually are, but if you still wanted to watch the video, the link is in the iCard up above. So basically in this, I wanted to talk about what I think the ending of Attack on Titan will be with some pretty solid evidence. So we're going to go all the way back to when Eren started the rumbling and made contact with Ymir and held her like that. I don't think that the rumbling is actually what Eren wanted necessarily. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. It was mostly Ymir's will. She is what wanted the rumbling to happen. Eren said this: "You don't have to serve anyone. You're free to choose. You're the one to decide. You choose whether you want to stay in here forever or end it." So Eren obviously wanted the rumbling to happen to some degree. That was the plan for however many years it was. He wanted the rumbling, but so did Ymir. Ymir wanted it probably a bit more though. For however long she's been alive mentally, she's been essentially abused and tortured by the humans, and a lot of people think that she kind of just wants to end the world at this point. But you can see Ymir Fritz getting her eyes back symbolizes that she's now free from the family's control, the royal family. And that is why she didn't listen to Zeke. Currently, she lives in a world free of death. So wouldn't it be fitting if she goes to a world that death is destiny? She goes to a world that is destined for death. That is what her freedom would be. And I'll get to that in a sec. But at this point, when the explosion happens, Eren's head falls off, Ymir's will continues on and tries to connect the head with the body again. So a couple things can happen from here. If Raynor actually stops the growth from happening, Eren can really just make a second head if he wanted to, because that is what Raynor has done right here. Half of his head got blown up, so he can kind of just recreate it if he wanted to. Or before the explosion, what if I told you that Eren probably moved his head out of the way? And he actually moved it all the way back to his body, which resides in Paradis. What am I talking about? Basically, the Warhammer Titan's ability. A lot of people have split opinions on this. Either one half thinks he's using the Warhammer Titan's ability, the other half thinks that he isn't and it doesn't make sense. But in reality, I think it makes complete sense from both a storytelling point of view and just from a logical point of view. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to sound like an insult. Basically, there are two key points that support this evidence, and one is this: when Eren transforms into the Founding Titan for the first time. This one panel is both evidence why it's the Warhammer and why it isn't the Warhammer. And it doesn't really make any sense, a lot of people's arguments. And for those of you who need a bit of a refresher, the Warhammer Titan needs to transform from the feet up. Wherever the crystal is, wherever the human resides, that is where it transforms. You can see here, the muscles are growing from the leg up to the head. However, here, a lot of people say that, oh, it's coming from the neck down or it's coming from the feet up. But do you see any muscles anywhere on there? I just see bones. There is no evidence showing where the transformation is coming from. Whether it's the head or the feet, we are intentionally not able to know. The author has hid all evidence. You can also see another panel of him being transformed as well. Still, we see no muscles. We don't know where it's happening. I believe there's one other moment where we see the transformation, but regardless, those are the only panels that we see the transformation. We see nothing else. Next time we see the Titan, it looks like this. It's just giant. It is fully transformed. I think that's part of the reason why there's no muscles on the Titan either, because it's supposed to be hidden as to where it's transforming from. We can't tell where it's transforming from this panel. And the only reason why that would be hidden is if there is a twist. And so Eren getting exploded and supposedly killed, and it turns out that he was actually using the Warhammer Titan, that is the twist. So at this moment, the lack of evidence for the Warhammer Titan is exactly why it's the Warhammer Titan. But one other issue that people do bring up is, why don't we see the cord? The Alliance flew behind Eren and caught up with him, so why don't they see the cord? Well, from what we've seen with the Warhammer Titan, the cord is only like this big, the wire connecting it. If you're as high as a plane, you probably wouldn't see that tiny little cord from the ground, right? Just logically, that doesn't make too much sense. I understand where people are coming from with that, but it just doesn't hold up. You wouldn't be able to see it anyway, even if there was a cord. But the other reason why Eren could move his head back to Paradis is because of what they say about Zeke. And essentially at the beginning of the battle, when they land on Eren's Titan, they attack Zeke, or what they thought was Zeke. But it turns out he actually wasn't there, and Armin says this: "So Zeke is really using the same ability as the Warhammer Titan. he's hiding his own body. And basically that means, and we see at the very end of Zeke's run, right, he appears out of the Warhammer Titan just wherever he wanted to. He showed up exactly beside Levi. He wanted to die by Levi's hands, and so he appeared next to him. So he can choose exactly where he moves in the Titan. He can go wherever he wants. And thus, if Eren also has the Warhammer Titan, couldn't he do the same? So Eren moving his head before the explosion happened makes complete sense. The wire being so small that they can't see it, and plus the dust would probably cover it up behind it, right? There's a bunch of reasons why the wire could still be there. The transformation is very vague, and we probably won't get a better shot of it in the anime either. I highly doubt it. We'll see the beginning of the transformation, and just like in the manga, it'll cut to somewhere else. So with all this, it seems like that Eren is using the Warhammer Titan, and thus back in Paradis. But back to Ymir, when I said that she lives in a world with no death, and that she deserves to go in a world with death. Basically, that would be this moment here. So Eren would go to Historia because she just gave birth, and then he holds the baby, who would therefore have the Beast Titan, because if a Titan user, one of the 9 Titans, if they die, the power will go to a random baby that has just recently been born. And that, by coincidence or not, is Historia's baby. But basically at this point, when Eren holds the royal baby with a Titan shifting ability, a lot of people think he's just going to reactivate the rumbling, and that's what happens in the supposed leak. However, I don't think that's going to happen. In reality, I think that he's going to talk to Ymir and say, hey, I got a baby. You want to become the baby? At the end of the day, he kind of just says that, and either basically he gives her an option. It's like, do you want to stay in this world of loneliness and nothing, or do you want to like be reincarnated into the baby? And I feel like that she would probably prefer to be reincarnated. And basically the explanation for this is because from what I know, the Founding Titan can essentially manipulate anything related to the subjects of Ymir, which means that Eren and Ymir could probably manipulate it so she becomes the baby, because they're all subjects of Ymir, from what I know, because that kind of makes sense, I think. But at this point, I feel like Eren would have complete control over the Founding Titan, the conduit, or whatever it's called, the link, the path. He would have full control over everything, because the baby is kind of just willing, it's a mindless whatever. He can use as much power as he wants so long as he's touching the baby. And before I get into what he does with this new power, I feel like he'd go back in the past to talk to his father, Grisha. This relates all the way back to season 3 when Eren kisses Historia's hand. And that is when he sees the future. He sees the past as well, though. Basically, I'm going to read a lot of this off of a sheet that I have because it's a little confusing otherwise. So that Eren, the one that kisses Historia's hand, sees the future because a future version of him went back into the past and gave his father his own memories. So at that moment, Eren saw the past, but because a future Eren gave his father memories, that Eren sees those memories as well and inherently sees the future. And so there's always been a big question to this. When does Eren send those memories back? Because we know that when Zeke and Eren go back in the past, Eren he has a plan, but he doesn't explain any of it. He doesn't explain what the scenery is that he sees. He doesn't talk to Grisha about anything. So he has to go back to that moment for another time, which means a future version of him has to do that instead. He has to be the one to explain everything to Grisha. So we know that memory inheritance is activated by one of 3 ways. 1, when they receive the Titan. 2, when they touch someone or something related to the previous Titan user. Or 3, it appears that if a Titan user is in a similar situation, they will be given memories. For example, when Eren Kruger gives Grisha the Attack Titan, and when Grisha gives Eren Yeager the Attack Titan. Both Eren Kruger and Grisha say almost the exact same thing when they're passing the Titan on, hinting that Eren Kruger was given memories of the future to when Grisha gave Eren Yeager his Attack Titan. I hope that made sense. It's also noted that blood-related successors pass memories a bit better. But from here we can note numbers 2 and 3, the whole touching or being in a similar situation to a past user. When Grisha kills the Reese family, which is assumed that is when he received the future memories, he is touching someone of the Reese family. Meanwhile, Eren in the future is presumably holding Historia's baby, another Reese. That is the link needed for Eren to send the memories to the past. Those 2 actions are linked when Eren touches Historia's hand and kisses it. And that is why he gains his father's memories and thus his future memories of that moment. And obviously he hasn't given his father and thus himself every single memory. Probably just the rumbling, the aftermath, and a few others. Basically any memory related to freedom. since that is what Eren accomplished at that when he's holding the baby. He presumably accomplished his freedom, and that is what Grisha is attempting to do when he kills the Reese family. Or as it's stated by Zeke and Grisha, Eren could just be consciously choosing exactly what memories he wants to give back, but at the same time, who knows? We don't know exactly for sure what memories he gave back specifically. But one question remains, and I briefly mentioned it before, and that is the scenery. What is the scenery that he sent to Grisha? What is the scenery that Eren saw? And I think that the answer is kind of obvious once you break everything down. So based on what I'm saying here is Eren is sending these memories back moments after the rumbling has ended. There's no real time for recovery. There's no like aftermath or time skip of when everything looks beautiful and everything. So what could possibly be this scenery that he absolutely loves and would kill for, literally? There can't be much of a happy sight to see with all of what happened, right? Well, think about this. What is a more beautiful scenery than seeing the country that used to have walls for thousands of years suddenly gone? Seeing a landscape for miles free of Titans, not a single one in sight. I think that is a pretty damn good scenery. That is what Eren showed his father and thus showed himself. And side note, the reason why Eren was mad at the moment when he kissed Historia's hand is because he saw the scenery, but he also saw Grisha telling Zeke to stop Eren, to stop that scenery. All Eren knows is that he sees a land without Titans, and that is what he's after. Yet people are trying to stop him, so that's probably why he's mad. So basically, when Eren kissed Historia's hand, he saw the past memories of Grisha, which at that point he had received memories from the present Eren, or our present Eren, right? After he accomplished everything, and so that Eren saw the future through the past's eyes. But the only way that a future version of Eren could send memories to the past is if he touched a Titan with royal blood. And there's really only one option for that. Now that Zeke is dead, there's only one other person that remains. Historia's baby. And like, this is just a fact. He cannot send them, he can't alter the past without the founding Titan's abilities. The past can be sent back, but Eren manipulating the past like that is something that he can't really do. And so thus he would absolutely need to touch Historia's baby, which means that he has to be in Paradis moments after this rumbling stopped. And the only way to do that is through the Warhammer Titan's ability. So basically from here, current Eren, the one holding Historia's baby, and he would then probably destroy the coordinate, which would then destroy the link between all of the Eldians, stripping them of their Titan abilities. All the Wall Titans would suddenly start breaking down and falling apart, and everyone, probably all the Eldians, would get sucked up into the link before it gets fully destroyed. And Eren would be like, hey, Armin, Mikasa, come to the tree where we were kids, right? Remember when we were running or whatever? Go to that tree. I'll explain everything there. Armin and Mikasa would probably meet Eren at the tree, like I said, and Eren would, I would think, this is a little bit of fan fiction that I'm talking about, but he's sitting on the trees, he's just sleeping. He has his eye, he's rested back, he's just sleeping at the tree, because, he's tired from destroying half the world, and then Mikasa would wake him up. This is a bit of a parallel to back into episode in chapter 1, literally like the very beginning, where Eren wakes up, has the flashes, sees the see you later Eren thing, and wakes up. And that is probably the exact moment when the present Mikasa wakes Eren up. That is probably the second that all the link and everything, the paths gets completely destroyed, and because of the whole similar situation, memories getting passed on, Kid Eren will probably get the same memories because Mikasa wakes him up in the exact same situation. And he's crying because he sees all the stuff that happens, but he can't really quite remember it. But now, present Eren just woke up, everything's fine, everything is destroyed, and he sees Mikasa standing in front of him, which, again, it relates back to the very beginning. God, I hope I explained that right. It's so confusing. And from there, he would probably just explain everything that happened, and it's like, hey, I did all this, I know I'm a horrible person, I'm probably going to go to jail for the rest of my life, I know, but it was all to stop everything and everyone, to stop the Titans. It was the only way to convince Ymir to join my side, as if I did stuff for her, yada yada. It was all part of this plan, and finally it's over. No more Titans, no more war, no more anything. And that is my ending to Attack on Titan. However, there is one plot point that I still don't know how it's going to get resolved, and that is the whole Marley versus Eldia. We see back in chapter 136 that the Marleyans and Eldians might make up. They're in a standoff, and they kind of just put down their guns, right? They stopped shooting at each other. They stop aiming at each other, rather. And once they find out who stopped the rumbling, or who appeared to stop the rumbling anyway, is the Eldians, maybe the Marlians will make up and they'll be like, hey, you know what? They saved the world. We have to congratulate them. Maybe they're not demons. And then the actual true history would get spread throughout the world, and true freedom would take place for Paradis and all the Eldians. But at the same time, who knows? We really don't know how that plot point's going to end. I don't have an answer for it. What do you guys think down below? And what do you guys think down below about all this convoluted, confusing mess of a video? Because, oh my god, there's a lot of time travel discussion and it's super confusing, and I do apologize. This video literally took like 5 days to make. It was a ridiculous, and I'm just crossing my fingers that I didn't get one tiny little plot point wrong that destroys the entire theory. And yes, I know a lot of these are theories that other people have, but I've basically compiled them together into one big theory that makes a good bit of sense. What do you guys think down below? Do you agree with me or do you not? And if you do, explain why. I don't know. And if you don't, explain why. There we go. Sorry, I'm horrible with outros. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and consider subscribing. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.